People are coming to a conclusion that we've been saying for years, that your work should make the rest of your life better. It's not salary right now. It isn't even benefits. It's not the work itself. They're asking the question, does my work make the rest of my life better? And as an employer, from both a personal and a human level, it's important, but also from a raw business level, you better have an answer to that question.
Did you know that less than half of eligible employees actually take advantage of voluntary benefits? Which is so surprising, especially when you consider that as a leader, you're offering what you believe your team will actually appreciate and use. But when we dig into the stats, it becomes really clear that employee benefits are often overlooked, they're not clearly communicated, and they're underused. In today's episode, we're diving into why this is happening and, more importantly, how leaders can rethink their approach to employee benefits and care programs. We're going to explore how to leverage benefits to not only retain talent, but also help your team grow and thrive in all areas of life. Today, I'm joined by our Director of Coaching, Tony Ferraro. Tony, thank you so much for joining us today.
Great to be here, Kate. Love the topic. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm excited about this topic. We've been talking about it for a while. I mean, we talk about it all the time in the office, obviously, because we offer an employee benefit program that is really the best one out there. And so we talk with our clients a lot about employee benefits and how their teams are using them and the impact that it has on their people. And then we started digging into some stats and found that it's wild how many organizations offer them versus how many employees are actually using them and taking advantage of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's important, to define right off the bat, we're at a point where it's pretty much assumed that when we talk about benefits, healthcare benefits are, that's an assumed part. We're talking about volunteer benefits for people. So things like programs that help with financial literacy, wellness programs, because what we call healthcare, in our country now is really sick care. So this is more about helping people become healthier, and wellness. So programs along that a lot. And then there are a few others, employee assistance programs that deal with some mental health. So those are what we're talking about with volunteer benefits. And yeah, it is striking that there's such a low number of folks that take advantage of those just on their own.
Yeah. And when we were looking through some of the data, the good news is that leaders are recognizing that these employee benefits are needed, like that people not only want them or they say that they want them, but that it really does support people's growth, wellness, especially. In fact, there was something that I read that was talking about how by 2023, so after the pandemic and everything happened, 66% of employees reported an increase in employee participation in wellness programs compared to pre-pandemic. So that was something that definitely highlighted the importance of making sure that we are supporting our team members in that area.
Yeah, I think what's interesting about that is there's some studies around why, that increase, and we're going to talk about this later, but, the idea that when people were at home, they had a chance to examine parts of their lives that they just weren't paying any attention to before. And so when they went back to work, back to a place, many people wanted to continue that. The number of people that started walking and got in better shape and started thinking about how their work fit into the rest of their lives. I can see why that's a big impetus for that group of people wanting to continue those on. And it's kind of imperative for smart employers to have something there for them. The lesson that seems to come out of the pandemic is that people became a bit more aware of how their work fits into the rest of their lives. And so smart employers, number one, recognize that people are thinking about that more. All the research is saying that. That's the big decision maker. But also, I think it helps drive past that, what used to be a wall of, this is professional and this is personal. We tell our clients all the time, it's really naive to believe that people's personal lives don't affect their professional lives and vice versa. And just the programs we were talking about, financial literacy and financial wellness. We work with a lot of people in the service industry. And one axiom that's true is you can't pay someone enough who can't manage their money. If you're in the service industry, you know this phenomena of people leaving you to go chase another $1 an hour, $2 an hour, $3, whatever that is. And it's just never enough because they don't have a plan in place to manage their money. Additionally, we were talking about wellness programs, and clearly people who are healthier are better employees. They have more energy, but that's not just for the employer. It's also that the people can enjoy the rest of their life outside of work, because they're not exhausted from work. So this works for everybody. And these things are important for both employers, and employees.
Yeah. And when we talk about retaining great talent and attracting them and retaining them, this is what people are looking for in an organization. They want to feel like they are supported. They want to feel like they are cared for. They want to feel like they're not just a number that's there to do the work. And they are contemplating, when they're thinking about an organization that they're going to join, these are some of the things that they're looking at. Like, what are these people offering? So then it goes to, we have leaders that are saying, yes, we get it, it's important. And now here we are, we're implementing these programs, we're starting to do all this stuff. And then we have people that say, yes, we want this stuff, it is important. So then there's this disconnect. So the companies are offering it, people want it, but then less than half are actually taking advantage of them. So where is that disconnect, and how can we help that?
Sure. Now, and it's important to note, they work. These programs do work. I mean, just on the wellness side of things, I was looking at a study, Johnson & Johnson, huge company, over the past decade, by all their metrics, saved about $2.5 million a year through the wellness program. They basically recouped or gained $2.71 of benefit to the company's bottom line for every dollar they spent in the wellness program. Again, for people who participated in it. And for those who participated in it, over half, 57% of those who were in a high risk medical state or wellness state were able to go to a low risk within a year of being in the program. So there's benefit to it. And other companies like the SaaS company, once they put a wellness program in, it was one of the factors they contribute to having a 4% voluntary turnover. People aren't leaving. So these programs work. We know they work on the financial side of things, but as you said, people aren't participating. 50% overall, like in financial literacy, the numbers around, 15 to 20% of people participate, and is growing, which is a good sign. But that's about, the percentage of people that are taking advantage of that. And so the question becomes why, and can an employer actually do something to lead a horse to water, in that regard? I mean, what they find is that the number one thing that happens in like financial literacy programs, and I'm sure it's on all benefit programs, is there's a sharp decline from when the person's first hired in their probationary or their onboarding program, because they're talking about those benefits. Once they get outside of that window, whether it's 90 days, it's just this huge decline in people taking advantage of the programs. And so that would suggest it's not front of mind, to people. And, I found it interesting that one company found that they were able to increase participation by 1% by putting a flyer out, a reminder flyer. So, communicating it can help raise that awareness, but I think there's something more to it. Than that. I was telling you, Kate, the other day, I saw a little short of Dave Ramsey. Love Dave Ramsey. A lot of our clients put in something like financial peace in their organization. And he made the statement to business owners that 1 in 4 of your employees, 1 in 4 of your team members is in financial crisis. And so that's kind of staggering. And I was kind of talking to the computer. I was talking to Dave. He wasn't responding, but I was talking to, and I'm like, you're kind of right, Dave. I mean, that is right. The trouble is, less than 1 in 4 of those people are going to jump into a program. Yes, you do need a financial literacy program, but what you really need is a way to help people participate in those programs. That's foundational, no matter what you put in. Financial Peace is a great program, but if people aren't participating in it, they're going to stay in financial crisis. So, as you mentioned, we have some ideas of why people join these programs and participate in them, and what leaders can do to help them.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's so funny that, isn't it always just like the most obvious answer? Like, oh, you simply put out a flyer, or you simply maybe you have a team, like a team call, a team meeting. You're able to, thinking about it even from a marketing perspective, right? How many times does somebody have to see a message in order for them to take action? Same thing especially when you're onboarding someone. I mean, there's a lot of data that supports how important the onboarding process is, not just because of the benefits, but making that person feel like I made the right decision that I came here. I feel really good. I know what my role is. Like you're ramping them into the organization and kind of giving them those bite-sized pieces of here's what you can take advantage of, because it can feel very overwhelming, especially if you're a big company with a lot of team members. It can feel like you're getting lost in the shuffle. And so when we're able to not only share the programs that we're providing for them, but really the why behind it, I think there's something really important about helping people understand, because most people have never had a coach. They've never been involved in these kinds of programs. They don't go searching for them. They're not taking classes and courses on their own. And yet we expect that they're all of a sudden going to be excited to do that when they're here. And for some people, they think, oh, this is something else that I have to do and in my time at work, and it's not something that I'm required to do. And so for us as leaders to be able to communicate, this is for you. This is going to support you and your growth, like making it really truly like it is about them. Like this is one of the benefits that we offer you, because we understand how you being healthy, you being able to be a better communicator, you being not financially frazzled and you feel good about where you are financially, you're going to come into work a whole lot happier, more focused, more engaged, more excited. And there's a benefit to that. And so it really comes down to that communication piece of, hey, not only these are the things that we're offering, but how are they really going to support you? Like, what was the intention behind us including these when we were looking at, because let's be honest, there's tons and tons and tons of programs that employers can provide to their employers. And we have to be very discerning of, okay, what are we going to really invest in?
Yep. And unfortunately, there's still even a cap to that for companies. Originally a lot of the wellness programs came in because there was a benefit to your healthcare cost. You put in the wellness program and it all made sense because there was a benefit to everyone. But this idea of yes, you can communicate those and you should, because there's a benefit to doing that. But the underlying fact is that the real reason people don't choose the program is they haven't really examined their own lives. It's the old expression that, a lot of people don't know what's going on. Some people don't even suspect something's going on. The idea that most people aren't strategic about their lives. And you can hire some people who are professionally just all buttoned up. They've got to go, but they're not really strategic about all the areas of their lives. That's when you really have the power of getting people involved in all these programs. When people are examining their own lives, becoming more strategic about their own lives, then the reason, the why, as you talked about for those programs, becomes apparent to them. Just like we talked about with the COVID part. Why did people, those programs were there before COVID, but there was an increase in there because when people had the chance to step back and examine their own lives, have the time to become a little more strategic about what they wanted in their lives, then they were obviously more inclined to take part of those programs. And that's why we see it and our clients see it in a program like the Dream Manager. In the Dream Manager program, that truly is about a person's entire life. And you're coached through that. Life coaching goes through and we examine every part of the person's life. So when someone sits down and does their first budget, when someone even, they ask the questions, where am I financially? When they examine that, then they see the need for help. And it's only then that they start jumping into the program. And some of that can be real simple. I was involved in a Dream Manager implementation where the folks were looking at, in session 4 of that, long-term finances. And these were young people looking at their retirement benefits. Well, as it turned out, when they were being onboarded, they said, hey, we have this 401k or IRA program you can participate in. And most people checked, yes, I want to participate in it. What they didn't go back and check is that the default was that their money got put into a money market fund. So some of those folks were there for 1, 2, 3 years of earning, and it's a matched program, not even realizing they weren't in an aggressive growth program or a fund, which is what a young person wants to be in. So that was just one small step that people were able to say, oh, I got to need to, once I examine it, I should be in this. Well, let me go check my 401k and see where I'm enrolled in. But this idea that until people examine their lives, until they become strategic, until they understand, what are my dreams? What are some of my dreams financially? And then they can start working backwards. And now all of a sudden, hey, well, my employer has this program. I can join Financial Peace. I can join this. I can do these things. That'll help me get closer to my dream. The same with health and wellness, right? I want to run a 5K. I want to lose 20 pounds. When people start realizing what their own dreams are, then they start seeing avenues for that. And that's where the employer could be standing there with that program. And now you start getting participation in that program. And we have seen that right in a couple of our clients. The optimization, the utilization of these programs has skyrocketed since they've put in the Dream Manager program.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I know. It's so cool to see. Like, the stories that we get to hear are incredible, because now they're opening up that dialogue. They're learning more about their team members' dreams and learning more, and really just helping inspire them to even have those dreams. Like, they might be there in the background, but they've never really written them down. They've never really actually said, yes, like, this really is something that I want to do, because they didn't believe it was possible. So the moment that you now have a program where it's all about helping them rediscover their dreams, write those dreams down. And now the employer gets to say, oh, wow, so there are however many people in the program, and half of them, and we see this all the time, like many of them, they want to lose weight. Great. What does that look like? Or they want to get more fit. That's awesome. So now you can start to bring in programs that support the dreams of your people. You don't have to guess. You don't have to guess what programs are going to be the most impactful and the ones that are actually going to be used. And so that's what we're seeing. Like, those are the stories that we're seeing. And to your quote from Dave Ramsey, and this idea that, 1 in 4, there was one of our clients, and this is such a crazy story. So they have thousands of employees. They implemented the program. And because this person had Dream Manager, they felt, after a few months, they felt comfortable sharing with this person. They were able to share, and the leader discovered that one of their, actually multiple, but this one particular person shared that they were actually living out of their car. This person was living out of their car, and their leader had no idea, because of course this person doesn't want to say anything. And when they learned that, they were able to provide some assistance. Like, what can we do for this person and their family? Like, they were going through a challenging time. And so can you imagine how powerful it is to know that you're working with a leader who you can share that with, and then they're there to support you alongside? And we hear stories like that all the time. One of our organizations who we talk about all the time, the Suitor Company, because they're probably one of the ones that has had the program the longest. And they not only started the Dream Manager, but because of the success that they were seeing, and because they saw such an increase in people being able to take advantage of the other benefits that they were providing, because they were uncovering all these dreams that people had, they started they have a whole new department that is it's filled with Dream Managers. They have about 5 Dream Managers right now. And this department is all helping their people dream, and then helping them and supporting them with all of these other programs. And so that's what we see in a lot of our clients now. It's they really are able to use this program as almost like the hub of all of their other benefits. And in fact, what they also did was, another dream that we see all the time is people want to buy their first home. That's a big deal. And not everyone knows how to do it. There's a lot of paperwork, and there's a lot happening. And so if you've never done it, it can feel very overwhelming. And so now they do these courses where they bring in professionals to come in and share with you, like, what does the process look like? And what do I need to think about? And what are some questions I need to ask? And so it supports people on that side of things. And one of the banks that we work with, mental health was a really big deal to them. And so they brought in a nutritionist, and they brought in someone that does meditation and wellness, and they provide those types of services to their team members. And so when you start discovering the dreams of your people, now you are able to share with them those benefits that maybe you already have in place and they haven't taken advantage of because they didn't know existed. And then now you're able to strategically bring in the ones that you know are actually going to be used so that more than 50% of your people are actually using it.
It's a huge multiplier. No one wants to put a program in that has 50% effectiveness. Yeah. But if you could add a little bit that would multiply the effectiveness of those programs, now that's a good business decision because, we want to help our employees, but we also have to be in business. So this is a good business decision to not only offer these, but then offer something like the Dream Manager program that multiplies the effect of those employee benefits and benefit programs. Another piece that I think is important here is that even with things like financial literacy, financial health and wellness, those in many people's eyes skirt real close to this line of where an employee or employer can get involved in an employee's life. So that's a tough balance at that point. One of the real benefits of the Dream Manager program is it's a confidential coach working with a person, because we haven't even touched on those other areas of people's lives. Look, relationships. When you look at the people on your team, in your work team, it's naive to believe if somebody's is struggling in a relationship outside of work, that doesn't affect their work life. But how does an employer say, so how are your relationships? How's life at home? That's tough for an employer to do, probably an inappropriate place for an employer to be. The spiritual life of employees, the professional dreams of employees that might be beyond the company. It's rare that a company's going to talk about, so what do you want to do after you leave here? All right. That's just not something that you're going to invest in. Even things like character, individual character and virtue of the people. So those are areas that are traditionally thought to be beyond the scope of an employer, but are incredibly important for the whole person. And we know that better whole people make better team players. That's where the Dream Manager program touches on all of those things in a confidential way, so that when the person does investigate their whole life, does get strategic about their whole life, an employer can be there with voluntary programs that people can take advantage of, and they don't need to be involved at that depth of a person's life. They're giving them a coach where everything's confidential. I mean, can you imagine the benefit to that? I can, because I'm a coach and we see it every day. But, I know a lot of people out there listening are going, oh my gosh, to be able to talk about something at work, or something in my life, a relationship or those, to have that resource, your people are better just by talking about it. And when they get strategic about it, my goodness, your people are just going to get better. And the company can only be the best version of itself to the extent that the people are the best versions of themselves. So it's why we're so high on the Dream Manager program. It is turnkey. You drop it in, you get somebody certified. They're a confidential coach, and it's a full curriculum. The company doesn't have to do anything. People are taken through examination of their lives and everything from their financial, their relationships, their personality, their spiritual life, their intellectual life, their professional life, their character, and all that's going on in the background so that employers can start offering some programs that are going to leverage that. And now you're doing what my grandmother used to say, cooking with gas. Now you've multiplied what's going on and everybody's really operating at an optimal level. So it just makes sense. It just makes sense. It allows you to leverage the things that you already have in place, and it allows you to do things that are extraordinary for people who will in turn deliver extraordinary results for your company.
Obviously, we love the program, right? And it's so exciting to talk about because of the success that we've seen and because of the coaches that we get to work with and the impact it's had on their people. And when you think about it's such a gift. Like, you're giving such a gift to people. And that's what I love. Like, we work with incredible leaders. And if you're still listening, then you are a leader who cares about your people. Otherwise, you would have gone on to another podcast. But when you care about your people, it's important to you. Like, you want to see your people thrive in all different areas, not just in business. And this really is the simplest way to do that. And what I love so much is when you see the eyes light up from someone that has never dug into this stuff. They've never dug into truly how to communicate better, with their spouse, how to have better relationships, how to really uncover the genius of their personality, right? Like we walk through the Myers-Briggs, and when people take that assessment, it's so much fun because not only do they love taking it and seeing what they are, but then they're like, I'm going to have my sister take this, or I'm going to have my spouse take this, right. And I have to figure out why don't we get along, or I have to figure out why this person and I are always bumping heads. And so it just opens up this whole new world of, we're in this personal development space all day, every day, but what most people are not. And so when you get to give them that gift of really thinking about their lives and helping them believe again in their dreams and then supporting them in their dreams, there's nothing better that you can do that's going to impact the bottom line than to help your people grow. That's what it is. All right. So this is an opportunity for you to take a look. Like, what programs are you currently offering your people? How many people are actually taking advantage of those things? And this is an opportunity to see, okay, what might be a good fit? What might be a program that we can bring in that would really make the most use of our time and talent? And then maybe it's time to reassess some of the things that you might be offering that no one's using. This is a way to start talking to your team members too. Like, what is it that they are interested in? What is it that they really need support on? And so this is your opportunity to take a look at, all right, how am I caring for my people? How am I helping them grow? What are the programs that I'm implementing? And decide to take that next step, but to do something.
Yep. People are coming to a conclusion that we've been saying for years, that your work should make the rest of your life better. That's really the reason. It's not salary right now. It isn't even benefits. It's not the work itself. They're asking the question, does my work make the rest of my life better? And as an employer, from both a personal and a human level, it's important, but also from a raw business level, you better have an answer to that question. And it needs to be in the affirmative. And having the right set of programs in place to help people, having coaching like the Dream Manager available to people, that part of their work is going to make the rest of their life better. And it becomes a real strategic advantage for your company. So it makes sense on all levels.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. Care for your people. I love it. All right, Tony, thank you so much. This was so great, so fun. And thanks for all that you do as a Dream Manager to help all of your clients, all of our clients, to grow and become the best version of themselves.
Absolutely, Kate. It's why I love my work so much. Enjoy what we do. And it's just an honor to be around people and helping them. And so great to be here today.
Awesome. All right. Until next time, lead with culture.